Okay, me and Egg are going to talk about contracts by publishers who have just vanished. Here's Egg with all of her great advice. There's been some talk about a publisher who recently went completely dark, took all social media down, and this is something that has happened to me in the past. Last year, I worked with a publisher who was supposed to publish my book in October, and that deadline came and went, and I did not hear from that publisher until December. They had totally went dark, just like this new publisher who's gone dark. And I think we need to hold two things at the same time. I think it's like called dichotomy in therapy, the idea that two ideas and feelings can be held at the exact same time, even though they're complete opposites, without negating one or the other or making one more valuable than the other. So I understand that in one hand, we are very worried about this person because this is a person who's been in the community for a long time. They are very ethical up until this point, and they are very much our friend. And then on the other hand, there is the business side where I 100,000,000% understand the frustration of being a writer and everybody in that publishing going dark and not knowing what's happened with the contract. So here's what I would recommend with the contract. I am not a lawyer. This is not legal advice. Look at your contract and see if there's any deadline that has come and gone. Because if they have a publishing date, or they have a publishing date for the anthology, if there are dates about editing, like you need to have your editing done by a certain day, if there's any sort of date that has come and gone, and you haven't heard from the publisher, a small press like this, I would assume that your contract is broken. Again, not a lawyer, not legal advice. That's what I did in my case when October came and went and I still hadn't heard from them. So I assumed that the contract was broken. And when I finally did hear from the contractor, they confirmed that that had been broken. Of course, you can go and get legal advice. That's probably, that's definitely the safe way to go. I would say with small indie presses, with the one that's certainly in question right now, I would think that they would understand that if they go dark, that they would assume that the authors would want their money, and also that they would assume that the authors would want the rights back. And with this individual person, I do think that they would give the rights back, or that they've already implied that the rights are given back. Again, though, not legal advice. It's also kind of, unfortunately, this is like career, for publishers who do this. And if that publisher ever came back and was like, you're still under contract, the entire indie community would have the back of the authors. And I just feel like that the least they can do on this situation is to give the rights back, because that is the least an olive branch if they want to continue in this very small niche world of horror indie. Now, once again, on the other hand, I know everybody is very, very worried. I am very, very worried, because this is not a person who just disappears. This is somebody I've worked with, and I can tell you from experience, they were 100% reliable. They were very excited and passionate about our project, about indie horror. So this is definitely out of character, and I know we are all extremely, extremely worried about this person. And we can hold that in one hand, and we can hold the business side of this and the business concern in the other. And I think that that's really the best way to handle it at this point. That's kind of what I did in the past. And when I did find out from the publisher, like, they had been going through a really hard time and they truly legitimately needed to put themselves first. That's in this hand. On this hand, I completely understand that they should have put something out on social media saying just a little bit of something, like, if nothing else, that all contracts are null and void. I don't know if any of that helps. I just want to say that I completely and totally understand, since this has happened to me, and I completely and totally understand the concern, and both are 100% valid, and I truly hope that for the authors, there is something in that contract. And if nothing else, I think I learned from my experience that I will always put something in that contract from now forever that is very, very clear about when I can get those rights back. And if nothing else, I think we've all, as authors, have learned that it's important to put that into the contract from now on. But I truly, sincerely hope that they are okay, and I truly and sincerely hope that the authors get the answers that they need.